Good evening, paranormal community. Thank you for partaking here in the Odyssey Files. I am your host, Michael O'Neill. With me, as always, with some kind of ghoulish type grin on his face, is my co-host, Mr. David Sorwin. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Paranormal Universe and new fans of the show, friends, coworkers, anybody who happens to be listening. We probably should update some people on like last week's change of what happened last week.
Yes. In fact, there was there's at least three things that I thought that we should cover before we get into
before we get into tonight's topic and stories and questions and stuff.
So the reason why we weren't on last week, which I will leave to Dave since it's his fault.
Yeah, it was my fault. We had a little incident in the house, so I was running late and I was like not in the right frame of mind, and then Mike was like, "Well, you know what? We'll just hold off." And so, sorry about that, but it worked out though. You know.
Yeah, because we have it tonight. We just
we got it tonight.
We skipped over obviously last week, which once you guys hear, we already heard it, but once you guys hear tonight's show, you'll understand the quality in which it was amazing to wait. It will be worth the wait. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's right. Yes.
So, but yeah, it was like 6:55, 5 minutes before the show, and all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, this happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I'm going to be late, and I'm like, no, like that's not even nope. Not doing stories by myself, not doing this show by myself.
No,
let's just postpone it to next week. It happens.
It happens. Yep. Pretty rare, but it happened.
Yes. So, second thing is, which came to a surprise to me, and Dave, when I had to tell him.
To both of us. Yeah.
To both of us. I mean, if we're thinking of the same thing, is so even though they never really came into play here, but for our lives,
right?
But I would always send after the show. I upload our show to Spreaker to go out to iHeart and Spotify and all those great podcasting locations, and then I would also send it to Subspace Odyssey Radio for them to throw on their network. And I thought that I had forgotten to send them one of our shows. And so I wrote an email to Russ, who runs Subspace Odyssey Radio, asking if this was true and saying, see how he's doing, because we don't talk very much. He's busy with his stuff. We're busy with ours. And it was like, this email no longer exists. And I'm like, what? So I went to the website and it was gone. And I'm like, huh? Found another email for Russ, got a hold of him, and unfortunately he has come down with some medical health issues, and so he had to shut it down, which I get. And he thought he'd emailed everybody like 3 weeks ago about it, but apparently I was not on that email list. Because I
number one show, but don't send it to those guys.
But yeah, so I mean, if you hear our show through Subspace Odyssey Radio or anything, unfortunately that is not going to be the case. I think once he recovers, hopefully he'll recover. I don't know what his medical issues are. It's none of my business.
Nope.
But I'm hoping that it will be back in time. And I know that we'll be right back there with them once that happens. So if that's where you hear the show, unfortunately that won't be going on any longer. But you can hear it here, and you can hear it obviously continuing through all of the podcasting platforms.
Correct.
Exactly. So
we're streaming back to YouTube.
That was going to be my next thing.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. I mean, it saves me time to explain it. So, but I'll do it anyway. So if you listened on YouTube when we first started doing live with StreamYard and whatnot, and then we disappeared from there, there's a reason for that, and that is StreamYard will only let me stream to 3 specific locations. And it was obviously our Odyssey Files page. It was the Odyssey Paranormal page. And then I had to make a choice between the web network, who was, kind of the foundation for us going out to all of these platforms and whatnot, or continue on with YouTube. And since YouTube's viewing were dismal, to say the I guess in positive terms, I decided
the nicest way you can say it.
In the nicest way I could say it, they were abysmal.
Abysmal. Yeah, that's a good word.
Abysmal. That is the original word that I used when I was explaining what happened to you. But I decided we would try out the web network Facebook page, since I was given admin access to that. And so when we disappeared off YouTube, we went to the web network. But I haven't exactly noticed much difference between the web network and our YouTube page. And so starting this week, we are back going live on YouTube.
So for all 3 of you listening, thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. for the
Exactly.
7 views in the next 6 months
Yeah,
on our YouTube page. We appreciate the patronage.
Exactly. Oh, I do have something to share with you though, and to share with everybody.
I love it already.
I had another shadow spider moment. Remember when I had those shadow spiders when I was in Woodbury?
Vaguely.
You don't remember that? Okay. So anyway,
well, maybe it was just one of those. That's what it looked like.
No, I was sitting up in bed.
Okay.
I was wide awake, sitting up in bed both times,
All right.
and wide awake, and these spiders about the size of dinner plates were walking up and down the wall.
Nice.
Like I almost got up to touch one just to see, and but it wasn't freaky or scary or anything like that. So I kind of watched them for a while, and then I just laid back down. I think at one point there was probably, God, I don't know, 25, 30 of them just kind of scrambling over the top of each other. And then there'd only be like 2 or 3, and then there'd be a dozen. And I'm like, okay, you boys have fun, whatever you're doing here. I'm tired. I got to get up in the morning early. I'm going to lay back down. So I laid back down. So either it was one hell of a kind of interactive dream, because I was literally sitting up in bed awake. So I don't know if I had my eyes closed, but maybe I thought they were. I don't know. I didn't have a camera on me to review it, obviously, but it was interesting. Second time in my lifetime that I've had shadow spiders. So the first time they kind of freaked me out because the monk was there too, and I didn't like the monk being in my room. But after talking to Witch Jody, she explained what the monk was to me, to us. Actually, we talked about it on the show. So I don't know why the spiders were with him, but anyway, the spiders came back, but the monk wasn't here this time. So interesting
indeed.
Yeah, no knocks, no door knocks anymore. Haven't heard one in a long time since I talked about it last. But shadow spiders showed up and were cruising up and down the wall for a while.
Well, I mean, because that kind of brings on the question of, are they always there? You just don't see them all the time.
Certainly could be, right? We talk about that all the time. Was
Exactly.
the veil just thin enough that for some reason I was able to visualize what's always there? I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, I kind of too have had not similar. Like there's no shadow. Well, I guess that's not exactly true. Well, it's not shadow, but I've had in the last week or so. I don't know what's going on with my dreams, but like I'm having like the first evers type of thing. And what's interesting, and this is gonna correlate, which means that I kind of am going to wait for the second hour because it's going to correlate into what we're talking about tonight.
Sure. Yep.
And that I've had dreams of animals, which I never do. I had two of those. I have had a dream that apparently a demon wants to seduce me, so I can only assume it's a succubus. Apparently, I got one of those. I hope it's not an incubus.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're saying it's not an incubus, but right.
But apparently, I have one of those on my case.
Nice.
And for the first time ever, I had a dream that involved my grandmother.
Wow.
And as I told, because I've talked to Cena about all of these, and because they're not normal dreams. Like I understand like their colors and stuff like that, and little by little lucid dreaming, because I was making the decisions in it.
Nice.
So, but yes, so like I said, that will all tie into the second hour, because we are going to talk about Dave's talked about binaural beats for quite a while.
Yep.
And this kind of branches off from that there are apparently a number of frequencies, like audio frequencies, that have certain results that come from doing those. And then that ties into like, I'm just going to tell you right now, just for the people who are listening and they're about to fast forward to the second hour because they're all happy and they're all like excited. Dave and I both have looked into this for a couple weeks now, since we had that extra week.
Yeah.
And we barely even understand like 2% of it.
Yeah, it's I keep looking for something I can like latch onto and get my brain to be like, okay, I get it. That hasn't happened in 2 weeks.
No,
so
the way that this has been thrown out there, that we have looked into it, it's like the people who understand the theories and are explaining it as though they're talking to physics class 101.
Yeah.
And I consider myself to be a pretty smart guy. I am not that level. Like, this is Sheldon Cooper, from the Big Bang Theory level. Like, he would understand it.
Yeah.
And whereas
I think you meant like physics 401, not 101.
I don't know where each one of these levels would be.
Yeah, no, 101 would be the how do you spell the word physics? That's 101. The theory of the 369 theory, that would definitely be a 400 level or a graduate studies class.
Yeah,
because it's way out there.
It is, but it's.
Hi, Carol.
Yeah, I was getting to that later, but anyway. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to try to explain it and talk about it in layman's terms, in terms that even Dave and I understand.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can.
Yes, we'll do the best we can. But like with a lot of things that we have done, like we did it with the Hat Man and stuff like that, we invite all of you to continue on with the research. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, I suggest a PhD first, and then go out and do it. But it's a very, very interesting concept, and I think it's one that everybody has background knowledge of, like a foundational knowledge. Like, everybody knows who Nikola Tesla is.
Right.
How does he fit into this? We're going to find out in the second hour.
Yeah, we talk about the Tesla coil a lot, so
we do. Or just Jacob's ladder and stuff, which are pretty much based on Tesla's stuff. But the last thing that I want to talk about before we get into tonight's mailbag is upcoming shows. So we're off next week
Yep,
for
for
Memorial
the
Day.
holiday. Yep.
And then we have some amazing, just right off the top of our head, we already got them booked. The next 2 shows are going to be superb. So we're back on the June 2nd, which Dave will tell us all about.
Yeah, Bishop Rita Strugula is going to be with us. So we're going to talk about God, and probably we'll get into talks about like fallen angels, maybe Nephilims. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where we go with her. Maybe possession a little bit. I'm going to try to not focus the whole entire time on demons and shit. But
right, I was just saying, because isn't she a non-denominational exorcist?
I believe so. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to talk to her about like signs of. I am interested. I think one of the topics that we're going to talk about is going to be kind of like distinguishing signs of like affliction versus mental illness, and like things that she has run into, and like distinguishing characteristics and factors for people that are listening, because that's a really fine line between something is in my life and negatively affecting me and making me do things I don't want to do, and then having a mental illness, because the characteristics are so close. I know one of the ways of doing that is to use religious provocation and religion, holy water, blessed cross, rosary, stuff like that. And if the person has an adverse reaction to that, then obviously it's probably not mental illness. But we'll get into that with her, because she's the expert, not me.
Exactly.
I just
and
a lot of knowledge about it, but not an expert.
Right. And so that's amazing. And then the week after that, which is June 9th, will be our first ever listener segment.
Yep.
Our good friend Anthony has already confirmed that he is going to be here to talk with Dave and I about, or just to have a discussion about Skinwalker Ranch and what is
Looking
going
forward
on.
to that. Yep.
I am too, because once I start hearing the term rabbit hole,
Yeah.
when it comes to Skinwalker Ranch, I'm like, we're going places that no man has ever gone before.
Oh, we're going deep. On the 9th, we will be deep. You will need a miner's helmet with a really good light to be able to find your way around.
I am going to know this. I am going to know what is going on up on the show and stuff like that. But I'm going to do no further research, because you two are going to need the safety net.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be the one that's anchored to the ground level.
Right.
So you two don't fall.
Right. Couple 1,000 feet of rope, so you can throw it down and pull us back up. Absolutely.
Looking forward to that, though. We got a lot of people right now that we are just trying to nail down the date. So there's a lot of great shows coming up.
Absolutely. Yep.
So strap in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And I'm going to be sitting back a lot tonight, because my back is absolutely killing me. So I'll be sitting forward, but I'll be sitting back. But I got my heating pad on, so I'm sitting back and trying to get my muscles to relax around my owie. So when if you see me sitting back looking like I'm just chilling, I'm not really doing that intentionally. I need to tonight. So
I'm just chilling.
I'm just chilling. I'm just like, whatever.
Gelling like Magellan. Ugh.
There you go. Yeah.
Yuck. I hated that commercial so much.
I know.
Anyway, so with that said, here we go. The Odyssey Files is proud to present the Mailbag. Alrighty.
The Mailbag.
The Mailbag. All right.
Are we starting with the ones I sent you today? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll save those other ones, because I was like, I got the ones I sent you today up. I don't have the other ones up.
Yeah, no, I already changed everything. So
okay.
We'll have to do those in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
All right.
Or we could do them with Anthony. Is he going to be on for 2 hours? Or no? I got to talk to Rita, see if she's going to be on for the full 2 hours or not. But
yes. So we'll get to them as well.
We'll figure it out. We'll get to them. So if yours is, when you finally do hear your question or comment or story, then thank you for your patience.
I wish we had comments. I would love to have comments.
Comments.
Anyways, all right. Number 1, please help me. I think there's something in my room or connected to me. Hi, guys. Something is happening in my bedroom. It's a new house, but built on land that used to be native land. I keep waking up at 3:30 a.m. with bites all over me. I've switched mattresses and sheets, and it doesn't help. Also, my TV turns on by itself. I wake up with scratches, and I just have an overall sinking feeling when I'm in my room, like something's watching me. I don't know what to do. I hide under my covers with layers over me and never alone, only with my cats. I refuse to be in my room alone. I don't even know where to begin to try to deal with whatever this crap is, and I'm freaking out. I just want this to stop. It's getting worse and worse. I hear thumping in the attic at night and scratching. My drawers get open at night sometimes, as well as my closet. I'm about to just move rooms. When I drive my car, I keep feeling like someone is in the backseat watching me. Please suggest something. I'm so desperate. So my first suggestion is eat Jet's Pizza. Not only is it delicious, it's very affordable. That's my suggestion. I'm just kidding. I thought that'd get a better reaction. I guess not. It said, please suggest something. So I suggested it.
Yep, there you go.
Here is my next suggestion. Get rid of your cats. Because are you sure they're not just trying to eat you? Because I mean, you're underneath the cat and you're waking up with bites and scratches. I think your cats are trying to eat you, which I wouldn't put past them because they're carnivores. But if that is not the case, if you are sure your cats are not trying to nibble on you during the night because they can't get out from underneath the covers that you've put them in, I think the first thing that you might need to take into consideration here is the fact that no land used to be native land. It is continuing to be native land.
Right.
So I think that the first thing you need to do is you need to bring in a shaman, somebody who can look over the energy of the place, can know if it has been, I mean, I use this word loosely, but cursed against, the quote unquote white man. I'm assuming that if it's land that was taken from them, especially if it's somewhat sacred land, there's going to be something attributed to it that is not going to like non-native people being on that land. What a shaman can do is not only can it tell you the place, but it can release it, what is going on to make it okay for you to be there. At least in theory. If the shaman is not able to do anything, I don't know what moving rooms is going to do. I can only assume that this has got to be some sort of apartment complex or something.
Well, it says it's a new house, so I think it's a house.
Okay, well, moving room ain't going to do anything. Let's just put it there. Moving room is not going to do anything. I originally thought as I was reading through this that maybe you have bed bugs, but TV turning on and off. That's just unless they want to watch, Seth Meyers or something. I don't think the bed bugs are clicking your remote. So yeah, my suggestion to you, my actual suggestion to you, although the other two very, very should be considered. Keep it in mind. But it is bringing a shaman. I think that because it is native land, I don't want to get into the same mentality. Because it is native land, right, that needs to be taken care of first. And make sure that you rule that out as being the cause of it before you move on to anything else. That's what I got.
Okay. I'm going to point out something here. Again, those covers, I don't know what the magical thing about covers is, but covers are amazing when it comes to protecting you against bad things.
But they're not protecting her.
Well, they are when she's under the covers, though. She's not getting attacked. But here's what I will say. What? No, you're done. All right. So I wake up with scratches, overall sinking feelings. So here's what I think. I think some of this probably is can be explained.
by things that are happening in the house.
Cats.
Could be the cats, right? Could be fleas. Cats could have fleas. Could be fleas. Fleas when they bite. Fleas bite, believe it or not. Like if you get fleas bite human beings. That it's not like they don't give a shit about whether they bite human flesh or dogs or cats or whatever, or any other animal. They don't care. So, and flea bites hurt and they itch like hell. So, I mean, it could be something like that. Changing mattresses and sheets and stuff, that's great. But then if you have your cats right back in there and one of your cats has some fleas on it and the fleas jump off and jump onto you, it defeats the purpose, obviously, of changing sheets. So anyway, I think that, and I say this in the kind way, that I think that the freaking out thing probably is you're letting it get to your head too much. So you're freaking yourself out, I think, because you're tagging all these things together, like 3:30 a.m. Oh my God, it's the time when the devil comes out. And da, da, da. So I think that you need to take a step back. So I think some of this is natural. The thing that makes me think it's paranormal, and really the only thing here that makes me think it's paranormal, is when you're in your car driving and you feel like there's an entity in the backseat watching you. That's not there is no natural explanation for that. So there's some energy is in that car with you, and it's sitting there with you, traveling with you. It doesn't mean it's attached to you, but it certainly means it's interested in you. So that one I can't dismiss with a natural type of occurrence of anything natural. So I agree with Mike. I bring in a shaman. I think that like I've said a million times, and I'll say it another million before I check out, reclaim your space. I know you're scared, but just verbally say it out loud. Hey, this is my house. And, opening up my drawers and closet door at night and stuff, that just isn't cool. Stop doing it. If you're the one scratching me, or if these bites are some sort of attack by you, stop it. And then see what happens. And if it's a haunting that's an intelligent entity, it should respect your space, and you should notice that things get substantially better really quickly. If it continues to get worse and you start getting attacked, which I'm not going to say you're getting attacked if you're waking up with scratches and bite marks. Right. I mean, I'd have to see a picture of them, I guess, but it could be you scratching yourself. It could be you itching. If it is fleas, it could be you itching the flea bite and then going, oh my God, I'm bleeding. Look what happened. So that's what I would say. Try to make peace with it. Tell it you don't like it in your car, because there's no reason for this thing to be in your car with you. It's just going to distract you, and you're going to end up getting into a bad accident because you're looking in the rearview mirror at the car or at the thing that you think is there that might be there, but you can't see it. And then you're going to end up getting into an accident or something. So don't just tell it to stay the hell out of the car would be my suggestion. Tell it to stay out of your room and stop opening things and see what happens, and reach out to a shaman. And if you believe in God and if you have faith, that's perfectly the way to go to here. It's not going to hurt anything, that's for sure. So that's all I got. All right. What is the scariest paranormal moment you have faced? Hey guys, I would love to hear about your scariest or most amazing paranormal moment. So I had to think about this one. I'm going to go with about 40 years ago. No, it's a while back. Me and two other people went to a abandoned mausoleum, and it was creepy. Like, it was creepy. And we were young. I was a teenager, but it was like, it just didn't have a good vibe to it. But I'll never forget, as we're standing there and we're kind of farting around doing stupid shit, that I watched this dark cloud of energy just
take a whole section of hallway that was lit by the moonlight and just kill all the light. And then I went around the corner, and then it just like it followed me, and you could feel it coming, and it felt like a tidal wave. Like it felt like it was just going to absolutely consume everything about you, to the point, and this has only happened like twice in my life, to the point where I ran out of there. Because my gut told me, if you stay, that it's going to be a fight and it ain't going to go good for you. And so I bolted out of there, and so did the guys I was with, the two guys I was with. And when we looked back in there, and it was a full moonlit night, I'll never forget. And part of the building had crumbled, part of the structure had crumbled and stuff. So like the moonlight was shining down into the building and whatnot. But as we stood at the threshold of that front entryway and looked back into the building that we had walked, and that's how we walked in the first place, you couldn't see a thing. But the moon was so bright on the ground, you could see blades of grass on the ground. But you couldn't see into the doorway anymore, see anything. So I'm not sure what, I never went back. I'm not sure what it was, but whatever it was very unwelcoming and left a very like fight or flight response was at like 99.9%. Almost, maybe even 100. I might even go there. Usually I don't go there, but it might have even been 100% fight or flight that we knew. We were like, we need to get the hell out of here. And I wasn't the only one who saw it. All three of us stood there and talked about it. But the funny thing is, it didn't come out. It didn't cross that threshold. And so that was probably and I'm big on thresholds, as Mike knows. And if you know me, you know I am too. So that was one of the first things that I experienced about thresholds and entities not being able to cross over certain things. And we stood there talking about it for a little bit, and then we just decided it was best to get out of there. But while we were talking, I was thinking to myself, like, why isn't this thing coming out after us if was chasing us out? You know, was it just it wanted us out, or did it want us? And I guess that's a question that I've always thought about, and I never got an answer for. But I didn't want to take the chance of something bad happening. I'd had enough crap happen in my life prior to that, so I didn't need take anything new home. But that's probably like, I can't think of anything recent, to be honest with you. Like I'm never frightened when I walk into a paranormal case. I don't care what happens; it doesn't matter. You know, I've seen just everything that you can possibly see. I don't know that you could ask me if I've seen something and I could tell you I haven't seen it. I don't think that's the case. Except maybe, I haven't seen God, and I haven't seen Satan directly, but I've seen his cohorts, and I've seen angels. So, but what about you, Mr. O'Neill? Scary moment or amazing moment?
Well, the year was 1992. In true Dave fashion.
Yeah, mine was back in 1985. So.
Gotcha.
Not that I'm aging myself, but that ages me.
Oh yeah, you're way older than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was 5 when that happened. So while you were busy chomping around mausoleums, I was going to kindergarten.
Exactly. So, yeah, a little time difference there.
A little bit. I'm gonna have to go with amazing, because I honestly don't know if I have ever been scared.
I can think of a time when you were scared.
So here's the thing. I don't think I've ever been scared. I definitely have been apprehensive.
Yeah, I would say that.
I don't know what we're going into. Let's be cautious. But I don't.
Well, totally.
I don't know.
That's just being smart. That's all.
Well, right. So I have been overly apprehensive, absolutely, but I don't know if I've ever been scared.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to go with amazing. And I have told this story on the show before, but years ago on the show. And Dave was right there next to me when this happened. It was my third investigation ever. And we were at a cemetery,
Mhm.
and it was Dave, myself, Steve, and Jake. So just the
Mhm.
four of us. That was the big I called dibs on Dave investigation.
Yeah.
That Dave and I still chuckle about every once in a while.
Yeah.
Um, but there were a lot of claims at this place, especially down on the far side of the cemetery. There was like supposedly a father priest who is buried there and has been like seen and stuff like that. And so we split up into two teams. It was Jake and Steve, and it was Dave and myself. And Dave and I went down to this far side while Steve and Jake stayed on the upper side. And this is not a very wide cemetery, but it's long.
Mhm.
It's at least 400 yards long, at least. And
Yeah.
it's surrounded on three sides by like woods and ravine. So it's not exact, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. So it's not exactly a tourist location.
No,
Um,
totally not. Yeah, you'd never even know it was there. You had to like I had to do a Google Earth search to even find it,
yeah, it's
and then understand how to get to it. I mean, you can't see it from the road. You would never know it existed unless you saw it and then like made a big effort to go find it. And that's what
yeah,
we did. That's like the
yes,
first time we ever went there. So
exactly. So um, we are in our first session,
mhm.
and we're down, and there's like a hill that goes down to where we were. And again, it's like a full moon night, so you can
Mhm.
see pretty much the entire cemetery, but we're in the woods, so it's dark where we are. Or there's big trees, I should say. We're not in the woods, but big
Yep.
trees where we are. So it's dark where we are. And as we're going through um our session, nothing's really going on, blah blah blah. We're coming near to the end. Well, around this time, I noticed that up at the top of the hill, um, kind of close, just maybe 100 yards away, something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe even less than that. Steve and Jake are up there, and they're investigating, they're taking photos and stuff like that. And I go back to doing what we're doing. Well, we come to the end of the session, maybe 5-10 minutes later. And so we're like, all right, well, let's head back to the car, and we'll team up. We'll get back together with Steve and Jake and go over what we, if anybody witnessed anything.
Yep.
So Dave and I start walking up the hill, and I see Steve, like from the angle that we're walking, like towards the cars, coming down the hill towards us. And I remember thinking, like, oh, I wonder what he wants, or whatever. Until he walked behind a tree and never came back out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking like full on, full bodied, like baseball cap, light jacket, jeans,
Yep.
same kind of
Yep.
body. Like you could see pretty much every detail of him, except his face because it was dark, and he had a baseball hat on. And I stopped dead in my tracks, and I was just like, Dave. I'm like, where's Steve and Jake? And it was at that exact moment, right after I answered my question, that on the corner of my eye, I saw a camera flash.
Yep.
And it looked up the hill, and Steve and Jake are on the completely other side of the cemetery, still investigating. I can
Yep.
see the both of them. And I was like, oh. I started to get really excited. Like, I know a lot of people would be like, oh my God, that was so scary. I shit you not. Like, I was high-fiving. I was like, this is amazing. Let's do
Yep.
that again.
Yep.
I know you said that you kind of caught a glimpse of it.
Yep.
So,
Well, I thought it was Steve too, and so I wasn't really paying attention to it because I thought he was just coming down to see how we were doing, or to say, "Hey, it's time to let's get back together and change teams up, or whatever, take a break, or whatever the case might be." So I saw what you saw. I just assumed it was him also, so I wasn't really paying attention to it.
yeah. So, I mean, the only thing that kept me, because I wanted to make sure I was walking where I needed to walk. So that's why I kept looking up instead of down at the ground. Otherwise, I probably just would have just looked down at the ground anyway, or
Right.
whatever, and not have seen or whatever. But when this figure just walked behind a tree and then disappeared, uh, that was exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
so yeah, I mean, that's probably my most amazing moment. It sucks that I peaked on investigation 3, but it happens. But
It happens. Yep.
I have had many. If you would have asked me what my most amazing investigation was, it would have been a completely different answer.
Mhm.
That sort of thing. But when it comes to like amazement and stuff like that, that's probably still like the best personal story that I have had, because it was
Yeah.
just so solid and so not there. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
supposed to be there anyway,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that I have encountered so far. And I've seen a couple apparitions since, but none of them were anywhere near that solid and there as this one was.
Yeah, that little grouping of cemeteries kind of up that way. They're active. There ain't no doubt about that. I saw a lot of things up there at the particular one you're talking about too. Like I was watching the guy run and play hide and seek with himself or whatever in between tombstones, and I'm like, okay, I got to go see who that is, And I walked over there. There was absolutely nobody there, but so I had the Native American guy ask me how old I was when I died. So it was interesting. It's an interesting location.
It is very
Cool
interesting.
place.
Yes.
So
We were actually going to go to one of them on Saturday or last night, but could not connect with the proper authorities to give us permission. So maybe next weekend.
gotcha.
But yeah. All right. Moving
Okay.
on.
Moving on.
I have been having consistent nightmares since moving into my recent apartment. Ever since I moved into my most recent apartment, I've been having at least one nightmare per week. I even had 4 in a single week, where before all of this started, it used to be once in a blue moon. These nightmares leave me waking up sweating and cold. I feel like I'm being watched or something similar. I live by myself. There are a few times when I woke up and I felt like I should not look at the ceiling no matter what. The one time I did, I saw something darker than the shadows above me, terrified the crap out of me. Could there be something here messing with me? I think there's probably a pretty sure bet that
Mhm.
you are in some way at least being affected by the apartment. Now, whether this is an intelligent entity purposely trying to do something to you, I do not know. The fact that, I mean, mine is obviously seeing something on your ceiling, which could be a shadow play, could be any number of things. I mean, even that could be residual in nature, or something that like poltergeist type activity. Maybe you're creating this black mass or whatever. But the fact that the only thing that you are experiencing is nightmares, unless you just didn't write the rest, um, would lead me to believe that there's some sort of psychic imprint there that you are picking up on. Um, I would look at what the nightmares are of in order to find the answers that you're probably looking for. Are all the nightmares the same? I mean, are you driving in your car and you get into a car accident? Are you choking to death? Like, what are the nightmares of?
Mhm.
If they're all different, well, then that might actually
That's
just be
bad.
you.
Yeah, I would
Well,
say
I
that's
would,
bad if they're all
well,
different.
well, if they're all different, then I would say honestly that maybe there's nothing paranormal going on, and you are just dealing with some sort of stress
Yeah,
that you're creating these nightmares. I mean,
right.
you just moved into a new place. Maybe it's for a new job. Maybe you needed to get away from something. Something's going on in your life that's causing it.
Right.
So I honestly would have to know what the nightmares are of in order to properly give a set of some advice to you. If they are all the same, or they're close to the same, or they have the same type of uh, not so much feeling, but theme to them. Like, are you seeing loved ones die? In every single nightmare. Is that the theme of it? I would talk to either a local paranormal investigator. Maybe I would probably even go more towards a psychic medium that might be able to
Mhm.
tell you whether you have residual or an intelligent entity trying to manipulate and affect you in a certain way. And they might actually be able to give you something to help you. In fact, we're going to be talking about that later.
Yep.
So, and my own personal story that deals with this, although I wouldn't have considered what I dreamed nightmares at all. But yeah, there's a lot that you can do. I would just start with trying to analyze or find someone to help you analyze these nightmares to find out if there's something very specific about them, and then talk to like a psychic medium or somebody who can tell you if maybe you have an attachment, maybe there's something in your home that's trying to get you to leave, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I think you hit on a point there that if they're all different and you can't find a common thread, then it's probably just stress from you. If they are similar, I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit and say that a previous tenant who lived in that apartment most likely died in some tragic way. And for some reason, whether it's that they can't move on, whether they feel they're tethered down by the accident or the pain, or they just can't let go of it or whatever, and they're looking for help. So they're sharing with you their pain, which I know that sucks, but I think that if that is the case, if these nightmares are similar, I think that it's a call for help is what I think it is. And I don't think they're trying to hurt you. But I think that you can recognize something, or they think for some reason they feel that you can help them move on or help them let go or whatever the case might be. So I would try to control your dreams. And then if the nightmare occurs, I would take charge of the nightmare and stop it from becoming a nightmare and turn it into a dream that you can handle, and then try and figure out what's going on. I know it sounds like a lot, but if this is really affecting your life, and then I think that's you need to do something about it. So, I mean, if your work performance is bad, if your relationships are suffering, whatever the case might be, you got to do something. You can't just keep doing nothing over and over and over again, because it isn't just going to go away on its own. So there could be something they're messing with you. Could be stress. Need a little bit more information, but I wish you the best. Whichever one it is. Hopefully it's just stress. And once that stress dissipates, or you can let go of your stress, then nightmares will go away and everything will be great in your new apartment, and you can enjoy life. All right. Number 4, I saw something kind of odd. I was sleeping when I was awoken by the noise of someone heavily congested. It was standing in my doorway, just staring at me and breathing. Mind you, my kids are super congested right now, and my son's room is right across the hall from mine. And he has lately had a habit of getting up and just standing in the doorway, breathing loudly to get my attention. But usually that's when I'm awake, not asleep. This time I thought it was him standing there. So I said, quit standing there staring and mouth breathing and being creepy. I've told you before to quit doing that. The moment I said that out loud, the form I saw moved away from my door and down the hall. Then I heard a noise like someone dropping something in the kitchen sink. I woke up even more and got out of bed to see what was going on. My son was in bed, completely passed out, and nothing had fallen in the sink. I'm guessing this was a whole situation where I kind of woke up, heard myself breathing, and mistook it for someone else, and the loud noise was exploding head syndrome in quotes, and not an external noise. What do you both think? I think you're wrong. I don't think that you had exploding head syndrome, whatever that is. And I don't think you mistook hearing yourself. That would be kind of weird that you misheard. You and your brain interpreted yourself breathing, and then you somehow projected that into a shadow entity in the doorway of your bedroom. I don't know. Can't follow that. But anyway, I think that if it was a one-time occurrence, I wouldn't worry about it. It's a good story to tell down the line. If something starts happening where it's occurring more frequently, or somebody starts to get injured or something like that, or it starts getting aggressive, then I would say it's time to reach out for some help. And obviously the help would be what we suggest all the time. Get a good quality, reputable paranormal team. They'll at least be able to tell you what's going on and catch some type of evidence for you if there is activity. And then a good medium and or religion to your choice on which way to go. So I would say that for right now, I wouldn't totally freak out about it. I wouldn't talk to my kids about it either, though. If my kids brought it up that they're seeing something, then that's a different story. But for me being the parent, I would not like casually be talking to my kids over Sunday morning breakfast, a bowl of Cheerios or something, and be like, "Hey, did you guys see that black shadow figure that was breathing real creepy standing in the doorway?" So I wouldn't go there. There's no reason to get them stressed out about whatever might be the one-time occurrence. But anyway, that's what I think. So I don't think it was you. I think that you actually saw something. Now, no, I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to go with the whole, it was your mind. I'm going to stick with, I think that you actually saw something. But and if that's all it ever is, and you never see it again, no big deal. Maybe it was just a spirit passing through.
I definitely think that she saw something as well, although I'm more along the lines of a potential like psychic projection. The son's asleep, he's congested, he's sick, he might not have the normal control or whatever if he has abilities, which I'm sure he probably does. And he projected himself as because whatever this black mass or thing was doing was exactly what the son would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And might I just say how unbelievably amazing it is that you tell your son to not be creepy? I think that's amazing. I love that so much. I told you to stop being creepy.
One of my daughters, who will go unnamed, used to get up out of bed and stand on my ex-wife's side and just in the pitch black in the bedroom and just stand there and stare at her. And I loved every minute of it.
I told you before, stop being creepy.
Yeah,
it would totally
paranormal
investigator right there.
Yeah, totally freak my ex out to the point where she'd be like, "That you creepy ass kid," and I thought it was just funnier than hell. So, but anyway, I digress.
Right. So, I'm with Dave. If this is a one-off, you're fine. I wouldn't worry about it. It's something amusing to tell your guests at parties. If strange stories or whatever come up. But yeah, if this is a one-off, don't worry about it. If it isn't, then yeah, I would definitely I would see if it's the same thing over and over again, because again, a psychic projection can be just your son projecting himself out there, and you're able to pick that up. If it starts to differ, then exactly what Dave said, bring in a reputable team, bring in a medium, somebody who's been able to tell you what exactly is going on. So you know what I realized while you were doing your answer there?
What is that?
Unless we want to, we don't have to go to intermission anymore. Because we did that all for Subspace Odyssey Radio.
No more intermission.
We can do it if we want, because we got to go to the bathroom sometimes. But
very true. And I agree with Carol. Carol, you're right. It also left when she told it to. So it's interesting, right? I'm interested as to why it's like went in the kitchen and then like dropped a cup or whatever she heard like in the sink. Like if it, I don't disagree with you at all as far as whether it was like a psychic projection of the kid, but why wouldn't it just go back into the son's room then? Why would it go down the hallway outside?
Maybe I wanted a drink of water.
Maybe. I still think it was probably just something passing through.
Could very well be.
And I like I said, unless it's something that happens repeatedly and starts to become an issue, I wouldn't worry about it, and I wouldn't tell the kids about it. So I
agree with
love
you on
this
that one,
next
too.
one. This is great, and I gave it to you first, so you're welcome.
I don't know if you necessarily needed to give it to me, but that's okay. It's not like I'm going to go off on any of my tangents.
No,
but,
of course not.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I don't have anything tangentially about. I don't know. Whatever I'm trying to say. You know what
that's
I'm
not a word. Yeah.
Every
That-
episode, I need to come up with a word that doesn't actually exist.
Is that right? Exactly. It's the Mike's Dictionary of Paranormal Terminology.
Hey, if Stephen Colbert can get truthiness added to the
Yeah,
dictionary,
that's not a word either. Yeah.
it is actually now it is, but
Well, it's not,
it
but-
wasn't when he said it.
Right.
Anyway, all right. Number 5, Ouija board affected my boyfriend. One day I was hanging out with my boyfriend and 2 of our friends decided to bring a Ouija board to my boyfriend's house. I was taught to never mess with one, so I just sat watching them play. The first question they asked was who they were talking to, and it ended up being my boyfriend's quote-unquote mama, which is what he called his grandma before she passed. I didn't think anything of it at the time. The group kept asking questions to confirm that it was actually his grandma, and it answered everything correctly. I saw it in my boyfriend's face. He was happy to be able to talk to her. Right before the session ended, the planchette kept going back and forth from M to A, spelling out mama very fast. This is where I knew something was majorly wrong. I told my boyfriend and our friends to say goodbye immediately. They asked why, and I told them it wasn't my boyfriend's grandma they were talking to. It was a demon. My boyfriend started to laugh, but it wasn't his normal laugh. It was something more sadistic and evil. I was scared for his life and all of ours. I ran towards them and put my hand on the planchette and went to the goodbye. After that night, my boyfriend had an immediate mental decline. I'm not sure if it was him being sad that he thought he was talking to his grandma or if it was him possibly being possessed, but he hasn't been the same since. What can I do? So there's many things here. Maybe I am going to have a tangent or two. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
My advice is run away.
No, that's not my advice at all.
No, I know that's my advice. Run away.
Oh, that's your advice. Run away.
Yeah.
Well, now you don't need to talk for the rest of this session.
No.
That's the thing. You already
I
gave
got
your
more to
advice.
say than that, but yeah,
Oh, I
that's
understand.
my simple advice.
The first thing that you were taught never to mess with one, which means you were probably given the reasons for why, and you're like, I'll just watch them. Nothing's wrong about that. Then it starts to move, and you're like, I'm not thinking anything of it. Like, what? How do you not think anything of it? Like, you're like, oh, it's moving. Okay, I'll just go back to watching my show. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden, it started going back and forth from mom really fast, and it's a demon. Like, now you know something is wrong. And instead of, you told them to do it, but then you went and shut it down yourself. So, honestly, and I'm not saying this did happen. What might have happened is you actually were the one that screwed everything up. Because if your boyfriend was at all being influenced or at all had an attachment all of a sudden to any sort of negative entity or a demon, and then you closed the portal, you kept them on our side. They don't just get sucked back in because you said goodbye. Like, you had to cleanse everything. You had to put everything back the way it was and then close the door. Not close the door while everything is on this side. So
I think that was a panic move.
It was a panic move, but I'm not saying she did that on purpose, because obviously none of the people knew what the F they were doing. But yes, it was a panic move. They weren't shutting it down. She obviously assumed that if they said goodbye, everything would just be shut off and go back to normal. And it's one of the reasons why you don't mess with shit you don't know what you're doing. Right. When you don't know what you're doing is because then you make mistakes like that. You panic, you get angry, or you make mistakes you shouldn't. And I definitely don't think that your boyfriend had a mental decline because all of a sudden mama was gone. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Maybe for an hour or two. But I definitely think that it was not Mama. I definitely think that they were communicating with some sort of other entity who was masquerading as her, because I think it's sense that's who your boyfriend, or that's the one person they really wanted to talk to the most.
And that's when you let your guard down.
Exactly. I mean, you start
Mhm.
asking them questions. You start saying, "Can you say this? Can you do this?
Mhm.
Mama, do that." And that's how it gets you.
Mhm.
It can read your mind. No wonder it got everything perfectly correct. I mean, it knows everything that it knows. So
Mhm.
if you ask Mama, what was the thing you wanted to make me for breakfast? You already know the answer, and so does it. So
Mhm.
it spells out cereal, or whatever it spelled out.
Pancakes.
Pancakes. Sounds good. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, I applaud you for knowing not to mess with the Ouija board. I take back my applause because you didn't stop them from doing it. You're just like, "Oh, those are evil, and I was told never to use one." But you know what? You guys go ahead, have fun. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
But
Like,
as a teenager, you don't have control over any situation like that.
you
So
don't know if it's a teenager.
I'm going to assume that it was probably like, well, you're right. I don't.
What,
I don't know as a teenager.
somebody
Even
who's
if it wasn't
25 can't miss Mama?
right. Even if they're in their 20s, whatever, she still doesn't have control over the situation. I think I applaud her for not participating.
So did I, and then she lost it. But
Right.
I'll golf clap her. How's that?
There you go. She'll appreciate it.
I'm sure. Are you dealing with a demon? I don't know. I mean, if it's just I honestly can't say either way. Because any negative type entity can use that device. It's not like a portal to hell.
No.
So it's hard to say from obviously just reading the story. Do I think you need to get your boyfriend probably some sort of psychic evaluation? Yep, I do. And I would probably do it sooner than later, because chances are, especially if the boyfriend isn't aware that anything is going on, or that he might be in any danger, or he doesn't notice any difference in the way he's acting, that could be even worse. So yes, I would get him help, and see where things go from there.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with, I applaud her for not participating. So I think that was a great move. I'm going to differ from you in the fact that I applaud her for taking the planchette and saying goodbye and trying to shut down the session. I think I think in that moment that was probably the right thing to do in that moment, and try to shut everything down and kind of close everything off. I think that I agree with Mike in the fact that when your boyfriend started to laugh, but it wasn't his normal laugh, whatever it was that had come through the Ouija board, through this portal, had already affected him. It was already attached to him because he had let his guard down so much, thinking that it was his grandma, that he no longer had any protection whatsoever. So it was an easy dine and dash grab type of thing for this entity, whatever it is. Is it a demon? I have no clue, but there is a way to find out. So if you want to find out if your boyfriend is being harassed by something negative, you can get some holy water and pour it in his pop, or his water, or his coffee, or tea, or whatever he drinks, beer, whatever. And he should have a negative reaction to that. And or you also could, and I've done this before, is kind of just casually have a blessed cross in your pocket, pull it out, and hold it behind his head when you happen to be standing next to him, but don't let him know that you're doing it. If he has something attached to him, he will react negatively to that. Either one of those things he'll react negatively to. Now, if he doesn't react to either one of those things, if you take blessed holy water and you put it in his drink and he drinks it and nothing at all happens, and you hold a blessed cross to the back of his head and nothing at all happens, I'm going to say it's a good possibility that it was a short-term attachment and whatever it was is gone, and you should be okay. I highly doubt that he is in a state of mental decline because he's sad that he thought he was talking to his grandma. She's already passed. If he wants to talk to his grandma, he should do it in his dreams or just do it out loud and invite her spirit. But don't use things like Ouija boards to try to talk to the loved ones that have passed. So I don't even need to go on my soapbox about that because we've talked about Ouija boards and how bad they are for many, 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 many times.
I have just had the
An
amazing, well, no, not an epiphany. I had an amazing idea.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the day where there is an article in Cosmopolitan that says, are you afraid that your boyfriend is being possessed? Turn to page 50 and take the test.
There you go. And the first thing I'll tell you to do is take blessed holy water and pour it in their drink without them knowing it.
No, they won't.
It's a sure way to do it.
Yes, I agree, but it'll probably be wear more makeup.
Oh yeah, no, right. It'll yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's Cosmo, so they're going to make the woman feel like it's their fault. It's your fault that your boyfriend's possessed by the devil.
Have you been affectionate enough? Maybe he's seeking the arms of another demon.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been complimenting him enough about his job and about blah 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 blah?
Oh, Cosmo, how I despise your existence.
All right. Well, we'll save the last one because I see we're already at 8 after, and we got a lot to talk about with Tesla and the Tesla coil and the 369 theory and binaural audio and everything else that's going to come up.
I honestly do not even know where to start.
I don't either. Well, let's talk about binaural audio real quick again, because this is going to tie into this big time. So, like we talked about this before, right? Binaural audio is this really great. I think it's great. And I've just turned my coworkers onto it. So I know you're listening and you're welcome for the binaural audio tip. I think that it's great because I think that I am after all the research I've done on it and using it myself, I am of the belief that frequencies can heal and reprogram things that are wrong in the human mind. Just like I think we just had this conversation at work. We had a great conversation that was way out in left field at work at lunchtime a couple days ago.
I'm glad that you confirmed that you were on lunch because I was just about to be like, well, why don't you try working?
No. We were working diligently, but we were at lunch. So
where do you work again? just
can't say. But so we got on this conversation about like frequencies and how like future medicine is going to discover the benefits of sound waves and frequency and start using that to treat illnesses. And I think that's a great idea. And I'd be very, very surprised. They don't talk about it a lot. You don't hear about it a lot, but I'd be very, very surprised if that was not already in some sort of experimental type of phase where they're trying sound therapy. I do know this. I do know that the number one song at chemotherapy treatment clinics is AC/DC's Thunderstruck. That is the number one song. And it's because the frequencies in that song help the medicine work better, which is crazy. Sounds like it's crazy that a song could do that, but it does. So I think that I'm sure they're probably already studying it. You know,
well, I don't want to sound like a narcissist here, or not a narcissist, but whatever. You could fill in a blank.
I already have, Dave.
I wouldn't be surprised if it already exists, but Big Pharma is making way too much money selling pills to people to keep them alive longer, to let something simple like sound heal people for free.
Yeah,
So I said it. There you go. So
I've said this. I've used him multiple times. Chris Rock, and nobody, everybody's just probably already rolling their eyes. But he has this great
I like
bit.
Chris Rock.
I do too. I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
He had this great bit in one of his earlier shows, probably 15 years ago now, where he talks about how he's like, what's the last thing we ever cured? He's like, polio. And he's like, we ain't ever going to cure shit. And he's like, because the money is not in the cure, it's in the medicine.
Right.
He's like, so what they're going to do is find a way for you to live with it.
Right.
And I think that, what you were just saying, goes on that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's above my pay grade. But
yeah, mine too. But I wouldn't be surprised if they've done studies on that already and found that there's benefits to using sound waves and frequencies. And
well, the fact that this shit that we're talking about is on YouTube, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're aware of what it's supposedly supposed to do. And somebody is going to file for a grant at some university and actually do research on this.
Yeah.
Maybe even after this show, because that's that's how popular we are. But anyway, so I'm going to skip around here.
Yep.
Because I don't know how to have this in a 1, 2, 3.
No, there's no way to do it.
Type
No.
step process.
No, there's no structure to this idea.
Right. So Nikola Tesla, we all know him for the Tesla coils or whatever, but you may not know is that he was huge into I can't even say the paranormal. I guess the paranormal. He was not so much huge into the supernatural. He loved energies and and frequency and sound and that type of thing. In fact, there's a couple quotes that I came across that I thought were amazing to hear from a scientist. But he said, the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. He also said, and I'm going to have to paraphrase this because I can't find the exact one. He said, once you learn the true importance of 369, then you will hold the keys to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And the 369 is what brings us to these frequencies that I want to talk about the most throughout the rest of this show. So there are frequencies out there which have been, I guess, somewhat scientifically proven to do certain things. And supposedly, I mean, this almost goes back to Jim Carrey's movie, The Number 7, where everything that he calculated came out to 7. Mm-hmm. And all of these frequencies, apparently, that are supposed to have a different reaction on the mind and the body, because you just talked about reprogramming and healing the mind. Mm-hmm. It also does the body as well.
Right. And
they all, in some form, equal 3, 6, or 9. So I'm just going to start the first one, 174 hertz. This is reducing energetic and physical pain. And apparently what you do is you take the 3 numbers, 174, 1 plus 7 plus 4 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. And there we have 3.
Yep.
The next one, 285 hertz. Tissue regeneration plus body rejuvenation. 2 plus 8 plus 5, 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6. And so now we can get into, because I have 2 different lists that I got from Cena. The 174 and the 285, and the other one did not have those. So now we can get into more specifics. So 396 hertz. Now, blood pH, liver, the bone, the brain, kidney, eyes, hearing, and freedom from guilt. So we're actually talking about like emotional type healing and spiritual healing as well.
Yeah, letting go. Yeah.
Letting go. Exactly. 417 hertz. Break negative cycles. Procrastination. Who doesn't need that? I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Clear sluggishness, the large intestines, enzymes, the prostrate. You know what I'm trying to say. Prostate.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
The digestive process, the stomach, headaches. She put due to fasting. Don't fast. That's just bad. The gallbladder.
Yeah.
Here you go. The lower back and lower back problems and their metabolism. That's 417 hertz. 444 hertz. I don't know why she put Key of David on this. Maybe I don't think that's you, but
No. It would have been like King Solomon's key.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So this is dark orange, and this is Key of David. The lungs, pneumonia, right there is our first kind of disease.
Yep.
Maybe blood circulation, cellularization, blood, spleen, and the lymphatic system. That's what you listen to if you have problems with those. 528 hertz. Extends life, repairs DNA. Go figure.
That's interesting.
Helps with hormone imbalance, and great for the entire body. So if you just want to feel good, 528 hertz. And again, if we want to look at it here, 5 plus 2 plus 8, 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. And we're still on the 369. Yeah. 639 hertz. Helps with dysfunctional family behavior. I laughed when I read that so much. Restores relationships. The gallbladder, the adrenals, and the meridian. I don't know what that is. But so one of the things that I had to stop and I had to ask her about is, everything that's up to that point dealt with you specifically, your mind, your body, your emotional thing. And I had to ask, I'm like, helps with dysfunctional family behavior. I'm like, doesn't that include other people? Like, so what would listening to that frequency help with your family dysfunction if you're the only one listening to it?
Right.
So, I mean, what's your take on that?
I think it's somebody reaching.
Reaching?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think it just that got lumped in there. It's kind of like when they pass a bill and they sneak that shit in at the very end, and then like some crazy ass thing gets passed because it couldn't go on its own. But they're like, well, if you want me to vote for that, we're just going to slide this farm bill in here, for this funding, and then so I don't know. Those are pretty widespread. I totally think that. I find it very odd that everything adds up to 3, 6, or 9, first of all. That's very strange.
I'm not even done.
Yeah, no, I know you're not. I'm just saying, so far, all those numbers that we've thrown out there all add up to 3, 6, or 9. So I think that's very strange. Number 2, I use binaural audio and these specific frequencies myself. And I have seen a change, and other people have seen a change in me. So, do they work? I'm going to tell you that I'm living proof that they do. I'm going to start listening to the 417, which is the fix the lower back. Right? Wasn't that the one?
I believe so. Let's see.
Or 432. Anyway, one of the two. But
417.
417. Right. So. Just looking it up quick, right? 417 clears away all negative energy and blockages. so that your chakras will line up. You can get, by the way, all the stuff that we're talking about, this music, number one, it's very pleasant to listen to. And number two, it's all free on YouTube. And no, we're not, like, we don't work for YouTube. I'm just telling you that you don't have to go out and buy a CD or whatever, or like you can't find it. You can just type in the specific number that you want to listen to, and you'll find plenty on YouTube at no cost. So,
Yep.
I would highly suggest that people that are suffering from some of these things give this a legitimate shot. If you got guilt that you can't let go of guilt because something happened in your life, to listen to the frequency that lets you release that lets you be free. If you have issues with circulation, if you have things that are wrong with you physically, to listen to those frequencies that Mike's talking about, that, you know, specifically that they focus on specific things. I really think that there's something to this specific vibration that's going on here. I really think that I believe in it.
One of the things, and this is again one of these cross complexities and whatnot, is a lot of these also deal with your chakras.
Right.
The 396 is the root chakra, 417 the sacral, 528 is the solar plexus, 639 is the heart, 741 is the throat, 852 is the third eye, and 963 is the crown. So, but I need
the God chakra. It's the God frequency.
Exactly. So to continue on from where I was, so 741 hertz is considered like the Great Awakening. So that's the immune system builder, the thymus, the heart, blood circulation system. It clears infection, viral bacteria, pancreas, and fungal. 852 hertz, starting to get up in the third eye. That's the awakening your intuition.
There you go.
And then 963 hertz, which is what I listen to the most, is the God frequency, which you just mentioned. So supposedly that is returning to spiritual order. That's your connection to God. I switch off between that and I don't know. I think it's what is it? Might be the 639. I don't know, but I turned on YouTube, and of course, it gives me all kinds of different options for what I want to listen to,
right?
Under different frequencies. And I just saw this big "Have your crush be all over you." I'm like, oh, sold. So I listened to that for 2 nights, and I can guarantee you, it did nothing.
It's not an immediate fix.
What?
It takes time and effort. I will say this, there is a 30-minute, which is great for people who like to do quick meditations. There is on YouTube, there's a 30-minute chakra realignment, multiple frequencies in that 30 minutes that I use that I think is amazing. And then I also am down in the 400s and also the God frequency. That's kind of where I am.
I mostly do the God frequency. I'm just going to tell you, each one of these things, that they all have their, insane claims of what, each frequency is going to do. Like what I just said about having your crush all over you if you listen to this frequency.
Right.
The God frequency is manifest anything in the universe. And, and if we knew how to do that, trust me, I would. But apparently I'm going to have to listen to it a lot more. But I have found there's one file that's 6 hours long. And that's the great thing about what you find on YouTube is that you can find these frequencies that are like 11 hours long.
Yeah, 9 hours. I saw a couple that I was just looking at. So
So I mean, I actually asked Alexa once that for a frequency one, and she played me like one 4-minute song and then shut off. And I was like, yeah, that's not what I'm looking for.
No, yeah, that ain't helping at all.
So, yeah, I mean, I plug in my phone, I turn on YouTube, I hit what I want. Obviously, I don't shut the phone off, but I mean, where it's locked and stuff. And then I just let it play, set it to a volume that's not going to keep me awake. And
Right.
I am
Just let
out
it
like
go.
I am out like a light.
Yep.
So I wanted to share really quick, just my own personal, just as Dave has, of what's going on with me recently, what that involves this. So I'm not going to go so much into detail as to what the dreams and stuff were, just because that would take the whole rest of the hour. But I would listen to God frequency every night, because it helps me fall asleep. I'm like, I don't, as many people that know me would probably attest to, I have a busy mind. And I love the fact that I can turn on this thing and I will seriously be out within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think, I don't even think I got a thought out into my head before I was out last night. Like it was just, I just gone.
Yep.
And I noticed that I don't dream a lot when those things are, which is fine. I don't need to. But for whatever reason, I didn't play it one night. Maybe I was too tired, and I just seriously, I was like, I'm not going to have any problem falling asleep. I'm not going to go over and start hitting buttons and doing all that when I know I could be asleep already. So I didn't play it. And that was the night I had the dream about that involved what I knew. And it's not like I saw this horned, animal demon thing, or whatever. It was a beautiful woman. But for whatever reason, I had it in my head and knew for a fact this woman was trying to seduce me and she was a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I avoided her. And there was some other stuff that went on, including it was all dull type colors, except for a cardinal. Cardinal was very vividly red. Stood out like a sore thumb. And so obviously when I actually woke up, I did research on the symbolism of cardinals.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I kind of did the correlation between not playing that music and having this dream. I'm like, let me try it again tonight, the next night, I should say. And I had another type dream that again involved an animal. Which I never do. I don't dream about animals at all, unless it's a dog or whatever. That's a part of the dream. But these were obviously, I don't dream of cardinals. This other one was a weird looking mountain lion. I don't ever dream of mountain lions.
No, I don't either.
And so it happened for the second time. And so I finally talked to Cena that night and, got her advice, whatever. And she told me, she's like, play the God frequency. She's like, it protects you from having these dreams. And I'm like, interesting. Did not think of it like that.
Right.
Because I wasn't really dreaming anything like this until I didn't play it. So I honestly, I've played it every night since, and I haven't had any dreams like that since. But I did have a dream involving, like I said, my grandmother, which was weird in of itself. And I don't need to go into that. But I mean, it wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So, I mean, not only can these frequencies like help you in a certain way, but they can protect you from outside influence. So, I mean, I don't know.
Okay. So here's the question for you, right?
Sure.
Since you're listening to the God frequency and you're becoming more in tune with what that represents and it's becoming a part of your life, do you think that possibly attracted this succubus as I'm looking for a trophy? Maybe I'm going to take a swing at this guy. Now, see, like I've told you, I don't know if I know I've told you this. When I used to astral project a lot, and Peter used to help me with this a lot, I would leave bits and pieces of myself all over the place. And that's
Right.
a really bad thing to do because then you're not 100% anymore and you got scattered pieces. Well, there is a succubus, for lack of a better term, that looks like a young, smoking hot Meg Ryan that had on hipster jeans and a little like leather or like suede lace up crop top that had a necklace on that had a piece of me in that necklace that she was wearing as a trophy. And I was sitting in front of my house on the front porch, and she walked across the street like she lived across the street from me. Walked across the street. I had just moved in and bought this place, and she walks over and introduces herself, completely to the point of trying to seduce me, number one, but showing me the trophy in the amulet around her neck. And that trophy was mine. It was a piece of me. And Peter came to the same conclusion that I came to, is that she's very smart and that she is not giving it up. So he wasn't able to do anything to help me with it, and I wasn't able to retrieve it either. So she has this piece of me, this trophy piece. So do you think like that maybe since you're in tune now with the God frequency, that maybe this sent a wave out into the universe that this individual was thinking to herself, maybe I take a swing at this guy who's starting to expand his mind and open up and become more in tune? Because you're evolving, Mike.
I've been saying that for years, Dave.
Yeah, you can't say it though. That's the point. You have to get it as a compliment. It has to be a third-party observation. You don't get to just pat yourself on the back constantly, telling yourself that you're evolving.
Yes, I can.
But you are evolving.
So
I mean, I just wonder if maybe that's why she came into your dream.
I actually asked that question because I don't do and haven't done for quite a while anything that would put me in a succubus's path. And apparently what attracted this demon or whatever to me is I am in emotional mourning for like lost love and stuff like that.
I can see that. Yep.
And that
vulnerability.
Yes.
Yep.
In that. And apparently that is what attracted this succubus to me. And so I'm just going to get a cord clearing and be done with it. But
there you go.
According to Cena, that is what attracted this attachment. But I mean, so far, it really hasn't done a damn thing. So
no, but it's disturbing the fact that she came to visit, because they're never a good thing, obviously.
Well, right, and it's not like she succeeded, because I mean, I wasn't even in my home. It was, the whole dream was a idiotic like trip to college, and I mean, on a bus, and then registering at for the first day of school, and then going to find my dorm room, and she was trying to hunt me down and find me, and I kept avoiding her by slipping into other rooms, and before she could find me, I woke myself up. So, and I haven't seen her since. But yeah, it's an interesting type thing, and I did not put it together that perhaps these frequencies have more of a reason for being, I guess, more purpose. There we go. They have a purpose other than healing and stuff like that.
I think it's like anything else, right? I think that if you believe deeply enough in something, and that you believe that positive change can come, then I think it's partially your manifestation of the thought process that positive change is going to come. I think that that's a great thing.
But then I also think that there's some, I do honestly believe that there's something to frequencies. You know, I'm certainly not done researching and learning about different frequencies and different things and things that'll help and how they affect you or the mind or your body. And now that more I talk about it, I would totally bet that sound frequency has been proven to like cure cancer and stuff, but they're never, ever going to use it or release it because it's just not profitable.
Well, at some point, some scientist who doesn't care about money is going to, in some fashion, whether it's as a whistleblower, whether it's a freaking TikTok video,
right,
is going to release what they have found.
And then you know what's going to happen? They're going to find that scientist mysteriously laying in their bathroom floor with some black, slick substance in their nose and mouth that they can't figure out what it is. Kind of like the guy who was doing remote viewing and then just was found dead in his home with this oily black substance oozing out of his nostrils and his ears, but nobody could understand what it was. And we didn't find that odd, so we didn't like look into it or anything like that. They just zipped the bag up and cremated him.
They're not going to kill the scientist that did
yes,
it.
Yes,
they're not, because damage is done.
No, they're gonna discredit it, and then they're gonna 86 the person.
That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to discredit it. They're going to come out with, there's this crackpot science, and there's no actual study that does it, and blah blah blah. Why don't you inject yourself with bleach? That'll do more for you. Yada yada.
Carol's right. Carol is right. She said exactly, Dave. Thank you, Carol.
Don't be a conspiracist, Carol.
I'm not. It's not a conspiracy theory. That's just how it is. It's setting the tone for future scientists to stay clear.
I see. So
that's what it is.
It's one of those. Oh, you want to help humanity? Get ready to die.
Do you think that like really good investigative journalists don't have really great things that they could report on, and that they've dug deep enough and found these really amazing things that the public doesn't know about, that are factually based, that they want to release them, but they know that if they do, it'll be the last time they see their kids. So they don't. They just let it lie.
Well, then I guess we need an investigative journalist on the show to ask him.
Okay, fine. I know the one I want.
All right, there you go.
He's the guy. It's Paul from the
Paul. Oh, Paul. Of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know Paul?
From the shut up. Paul it's not Bream. Paul. Oh, anyways, the investigative journalist that is working with the spinoff on Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah, that goes with the XCA guy. He's a great investigative journalist. So he would be a great guest.
Yep.
I just can't think of his last name now, but it's Paul.
Paul Baban. Beban.
Yeah. Beban.
Paul Beban.
Yeah. So he would be a fan. Paul, if you're listening, we want you as a guest. Or if you're listening to the show and you know Paul, tell him to reach out to us. We want to have him on.
Yes, we do. So how long? Because when I said that I listened to the love frequency,
yes,
for 2 nights and it did nothing, you're like, you didn't listen to it long enough.
Correct.
So how long do you think somebody would have to listen to a specific frequency before they get the
benefits?
The benefits that are promised to them in the title of the YouTube video?
Well, first of all, you're not going to get what the person in the YouTube promo, you're not going to get that. Will you see a difference in your life? Certainly you will. 21 to 22 days without missing a day. 21 days. 3 weeks.
21 days.
Make a commitment. 21 days. That's what you need. That's how you change habits, right? If you want to break a bad habit, it takes 21 days. If you want to create a new habit, it takes 21 days. If you want to get your brain reprogrammed, if you're having some health issue and you're tired of taking 10 pills a day because all the side effects are screwing up your existence on the planet Earth, and you're looking for more of a holistic type of thing, look into sound frequency. It certainly is not going to hurt you. It's not like it's I'm not going to tell you it's a replacement for your 10 pills a day, but it certainly is not going to hurt you. And if you really truly make the commitment 21 days, I think that if you could get rid of 2 of your 10 pills, that would be a huge victory in my example, right? If you had to take 10 pills a day just to survive on the planet, just to live, and now you could listen to sound, a specific frequency, and now you only had to take 7 or 8 pills, I think that's a huge victory. Huge. I mean, earth-shaking type of victory for the person that it is pertaining to their life.
Or you need treatment less because it's not as needed as it was before.
Right.
And I was going to make that same point, Carol, that
he was not. He's just trying to get a pat on the back.
I honestly was about to. We hadn't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
I was going to say that, the reason that I think that these frequencies and stuff work is because we're all energy.
Right. We're vibrational energy. Right.
Exactly. We're vibrational energy. We're energy. We respond to frequencies just as much as anything else.
Right.
That's why some people, nails on a chalkboard are like, well, other people are like, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, everybody reacts to different frequencies in different ways. I even threw out the theory here on the show to you about whether when you're doing EVP sessions, whether maybe a female voice, which talks in different frequency than I do, can be heard by the other side and they can't hear me because of what I'm speaking at.
Right.
And, we brought up the whole speaking through the recorder and speaking through the walkie-talkie because that changes all of our frequencies.
And that works, by the way. When we did our experiment at Farrar with the pre-recorded messages and then leaving them in the principal's office and then having a second recorder playing, listening to it, we got some phenomenal results. That was great. I mean, that was great.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the thing about this is, and this is the point that I'm trying to make, is this is so flipping complex. Cena just says stuff like you need to get out of your human. I don't know how to do that.
I don't either.
You need to understand that this is all the Matrix. This is all an illusion, and you can manifest whatever you want. I don't know how to do that.
No.
And let me just say that it gives me an immense amount of pleasure and satisfaction whenever Cena says something human, and I can be like, "You need to get out of your human, Cena." But
that does not surprise me. But yes, yeah.
We're making this sound a lot easier than it is. Like, we're like, hey, listen to 396 hertz and your liver will be perfect. That's great for alcoholics all over the world.
Right.
Probably not.
That probably is not going to happen. But will 396 hertz potentially start your body into a self-healing process that it currently is not doing? That's the real question here, right? I mean, that's the real question with all of this sound theory and with this whole 369 thing with Tesla. By the way, if you really want to get confused, go on YouTube and watch the 369 videos because they are, I'm not even going to try and decipher them tonight because I can't. So I'm not even going to approach the subject. But if you really want to blow your mind, I mean, if you think that, and I love Cena, so I say this with only the best intentions. If you think that wrapping your head around the concept that we live in the past, present, and future simultaneously, wait until you get into 369 theory.
And Dave,
It'll be a cake. The whole simultaneous existence thing will be a cakewalk compared to what 369, where it's going to take you.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like they go into the root numbers 1 through 9 are the fabric of like our existence.
Universe. Yeah.
Like all the letters 1 through 26, they all like faith spells this out and that connects to the 3 6.
Right.
Like it
deep.
goes it's burrowing itself to China.
Yeah.
It metaphorically. And Dave, I just want to point out, because I know that this is going to personally make you, I don't know, angry or apprehend or whatever.
I don't get angry.
Right. Not angry, but annoyed, maybe.
Could be. I get annoyed. Yeah. I don't get angry.
You definitely get annoyed. Cena says we
My phone's
actually.
annoying me.
Yes. See, that's it.
Yeah.
Cena says we actually live 4 lives simultaneously.
Yeah. So that is annoying, because I have a hard enough time wrapping 3 around my head and getting my head around that. And she likes to tell me that all the time too. Well, Dave, you already know the answer to that. And then she looks at me like I'm stupid. And then she's like, because we live past, present, and future simultaneously. So that's just blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, yeah. How dumb of me to not remember that.
Yeah, they're
I wasn't paying attention in class that day. Sorry.
These frequencies and just frequencies in general, the 369, Nikola Tesla, and everything, like they said, like he wasn't really big. He didn't believe in the supernatural, but yet he was like a superhuman and was kind of like very psychic. And it's all like this big complex bubble of shit. And it's like you have to really focus and apply yourself to even understand like 5% of it. And I think that this, where's the frequency that opens up the brain? Like we're only supposed to be used 10% of the brain. I want the frequency that lets me use like 50%.
There is this great movie that I just watched, and I believe it's called Lucy. You ever seen it?
Yeah, that's the Scarlett Johansson one.
Where her mind opens up. That's exactly what happens in that movie. So she starts using, gets this synthetic drug that she overdoses on, but instead of killing her, it opens up her mind, and she starts using more of her brain. And who's that guy that's in it? Oh, the black guy that I like.
That could be
anyway. No, it's the older guy with he was in Shawshank Redemption.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, thank you. So Morgan Freeman's in it anyway. So he's the professor, right? And then she's just who she is, but she gets abducted, and then like they cut her open and they stick this pills in her, and she's supposed to be like a mule drug smuggler for this cartel. Anyway, so the thing punctures, opens up, her body starts absorbing these massive doses of this drug. And what it does, instead of killing her, is it opens up her mind. And she, in the end, becomes 100%. And when she becomes 100%, she just evolves into nothing. Like it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty good movie if you've never seen it. So if you're listening, you've never seen Lucy, and you want to kind of get in on the concept of like what it would be like if you could use more of your brain than 10%. That's a good show to kind of get into it. But I don't know. I don't know that there is a frequency that we can unlock our brain more than 10%. I think there's a reason why, and I don't have the answer, but I think there is a reason why we're only allowed to use 10%.
I also want to.
It's a safety net. I'm going to say it's in a way, it's a safety net for us.
I also want to throw out that phenomenon, which John Travolta also deals with.
Very good movie. Yes, we were talking about that not long ago.
Yes, and I had said how the Morse code that they had in that movie that he was able to decipher because he was able to, have that brain power to do so, sounded exactly like the audio information exchange or whatever that they had on Skinwalker Ranch a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And speaking of Skinwalker Ranch, I have to give out a very rare apology.
That is rare.
It is rare because I'm never wrong. So there's nothing for me to ever apologize for. I was incorrect. When I went to watch the last episode of Skinwalker Ranch, it said they were on season 5. And I had said they were only on like season 3.
Yeah.
Thinking, so high strangeness indeed, Dave.
Yeah, I guess so, Mike.
But I was wrong.
I appreciate the apology.
Crap, I had something else.
I think we're going to have to come. So here's what I want to do. We're going to do another show sometime this year, just like with Tesla as the man and some of the things that he actually like invented and how that pertains to like the paranormal field now. And also Edison, because Edison was big into wanting to speak to the dead. And I think that's a good show. Like, I think that'd be an interesting show. And maybe we'll find a third guy who fits into the form there, But Tesla was around, like, he was around, like, you got to put this into perspective. The guy was born in 1856, for crying out loud. So it's not like he was a modern scientist. And I know for a fact that when he passed, the government swooped into all of his labs and took all of his shit, everything, all of his notes, everything he was working on, all of his prototypes, everything. And they went and locked him away in some secret vault, like Indiana Jones. Like when they walked into that warehouse, when they put the Ark of the Covenant in there. That's exactly what they did. They went and they got some big, huge ass warehouse somewhere where they put it in, boxed it all up, and they just put it in some big storage thing. And I think that the reason they did that is because he was so far ahead of his time, and he was probably so close to breaking open some answers to some really big mysteries of the universe that either they were scared or the powers that be were like, we can't control the masses if this information gets out, so it ain't getting out. And we can get more into that when we do the show on him. But I'm just throwing it out there for food for thought for the upcoming sub show down the road here. But why else would you take everything that somebody was working on and everything? It could be so nobody could follow in his footsteps. Nobody could take his work and expand on it or dig deeper on it. Yep. Now, that somewhere there's some lab where they were doing exactly that. It's like Area 51 back in 1900. That's all.
Pretty much.
But anyway.
So I have, since we only have a couple minutes left.
Yep. I saw that.
I have a philosophical, hypothetical question for you.
Shoot.
Okay. Say that you have a huge amount of knowledge, which you want to share with, like, let's just say a friend. Let's say you had an extreme amount of knowledge that you wanted to share with me, but that knowledge would interfere or would take me off or put me on a path that maybe I'm not supposed to be on.
Okay.
And so you disseminate the information at specific periods of time.
Okay.
But you have a non-interference clause or like policy. So if I were to take that information and go kill somebody with it, and you knew I was going to kill somebody with it, but you had non-interference, you were not going to stop me from killing somebody.
Okay.
But you gave me the information that then led me to go kill somebody. Without that information, I would not have gotten to that point.
You wouldn't have committed the act. Yeah.
I would not have committed the act.
Yep.
But you don't call that interference. You call it a gift. You gifted that information to me, and how I used it is up to me, but you're not going to stop me if I take it and do something evil with it.
Okay.
Is not the giving of the information interference in and of itself? He's thinking, everybody.
Yeah, sorry. No, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why.
Please do.
So, okay. So I don't know what you're going to do with the information I give you.
Maybe you do.
Okay, well, if I do, then I'm interfering with you and I'm programming you ahead of time. And that's wrong. But if I don't know what you're going to do with the information, then no, I'm not interfering with your path, because, like I always say, and I'm always going to say, your path is the path that you're supposed to be on. So the information that I gave you, maybe it sped up the speed of your path, but in your example's case, you were always going to kill somebody. It was always going to happen. It just, you got there quicker because of something that you learned from me. So I don't really think that that's interference. I think that it was meant to everything happens for a reason. Everything does. I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is. Good, bad, indifferent, it's irrelevant. Everything happens for a reason. Either it's a learning tool, it's to bring you joy, it's to make you pause and reflect on your decisions. Whatever the case is, everything that happens in our lives happens for a reason. That's why our lives are so different and unique. If it wasn't like that, then everybody would be identical. There'd be no reason to have any differentiation. We'd all live the same lives. We'd all wear the same clothes. We'd all work at the same job. We'd all eat the same food. Because there'd be no reason for us to be different. But we're not. We're all like snowflakes. We're all similar. We have a ton of similarities, but we're all different. Carol says, how boring.
I think it means, I don't think she means the show.
No. She does not mean the show. She means what I just said about everybody being identical.
No.
Right.
Okay. So let me sum up.
Sure.
So
go ahead.
If you don't know what I'm going to do with the information ahead of time,
correct,
then it's not interference. But
I don't think
if you know what the information is going to do to me in my path,
yes,
then it is interference.
I would say so, because I'm programming you. I'm interfering in a way that's going to make you act upon something that I know is bad. So that's definitely, I'm interfering with your well-being. I'm interfering with how your life is going to end up, because if you kill somebody, you're going to end up in jail. So I'm interfering in your path, but that's still your path, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
It's still your path. Your path isn't going to change because of information I provide you with. Copy
that. Okay.
So
here's what I want all you listeners to do, if you're willing to do so. Send us, not me, but us. You can send it to me, I guess. But send it to the show. Your take on that. Your answer. Is it interference or is it not interference? Do you agree with Dave's reaction to that?
Yeah.
And let me know what you guys think. So, and I'm going to tell Dave off the air why I was asking him that question.
What he really feels.
No. I'm going to give you the context of why I was asking.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Okay. But that does it for us this week. We'll be back.
Yeah, have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody be safe.
Yeah, if you're traveling, be safe, please.
Absolutely. Watch out for the UPS drivers out there. They're just trying to do their job. Let them go. Let them do it. Keep your dog on a leash. We get bit a lot. But all right. So everyone have a great and safe Memorial Day. We'll see you back in 2 weeks when we have
Bishop Rita on.
Bishop Rita. I'm just called Bishop because I can't pronounce her last name. And yeah,
Good night, Carol. Thanks for watching the whole thing tonight with us. I appreciate it.
I do too. And thank you for everybody who listens and watches the show from start to finish. So, all right. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe. Everyone have a great night.